What is going on, guys? We are back for another episode of My Pokemon Teams. This week we'll be covering the Hoenn edition of My Pokemon Team. And of course, as you guys know from our previous Johto team, that we don't always do things in the way of the traditional story. And this is my personal team, what I think I would use, and I did a ton of research on this, the Pokemon and how I want the story to go, and so this is my list. I'm not here to be a Pokemon champion, although it would be a dream, but, you know, I'm kind of thinking of a more realistic story. This is my third region. This is the first region away from kind of Kanto Johto. So, as you guys know, we started our journey in Vermilion City. And, of course, we are joined by Professor Cersei. And he tells us, you know, there is another region south of Kanto and Johto. And it is kind of, you can kind of see the Japan map. Kanto and Johto are kind of side by side in the lower east corner. And then Sinnoh is up north. And Hoenn is kind of down southwest. So he tells us, you know what, go to the Hoenn region. It's a great region. It's a great spot to get another new Pokemon and a really competitive Pokemon league. You know, he kind of says, you know what, like, this is your opportunity. This is a really good shot. You know, I have a boat that I can get you to that region. And so we get the boat, we get the SS title. And we make our way over, and Professor Birch meets us in Slateport City and takes us to his lab in Little Root Town. Now, in Little Root Town, we get to choose our starter Pokemon. We actually decided to not bring any Pokemon with us this time around. Last time we did bring a Ninetales with us, but this time we decided, you know what, whole new region. We're going for it. We want to take the full journey. We're not taking any excuses for any gym leaders being gone, anything like that. So we decided we're taking the full journey. We're doing it the right way, and we got to do it. We got to do it big with our boy Treecko. Treecko is an unbelievable Pokemon. Treecko is one of the easiest Pokemon in the entire region to train. It can feed itself. It's very fast. It's very high offense stats. You know, it's a laid-back personality and is great in a variety of temperatures. And so for me, kind of knowing that I live kind of coastal, it's a little bit cooler, but you know, we do have sun. It's not like I have fully all year round snow. You know what I mean? So it doesn't like the cold, obviously, like any grass type, but I figured it's a grass type that I could have in my apartment if I needed to. You know what I mean? And so they're very easygoing Pokemon, and that was just my real main reason for choosing Treecko. The other starters in this region were a little bit more finicky, and so I just felt that Treecko was the best pick for us. And of course, you know, we are the grass type connoisseurs, and so we had to pick it. Treecko itself, though, Manectric are, you know, common starter Pokemon. The 1 foot tall, 11 pound, overgrow and unburden. You know, as long as it doesn't have anything that's holding, it can be very, very fast. And overgrow is obviously a very good Pokemon. It's a wood gecko Pokemon. But yeah, so we head our way to Petalburg Woods. You know, we kind of just cruise through this region. We have a mission this time. We're not going to be stopped, and so we make it all the way to Petalburg Woods, and we find ourselves a Routes. Now, Routes is a Pokemon that is very dependent on the emotions of its trainer and the people around it. It won't even show up if you have a bad attitude, and so this is really what's going to show that we are committed. You can't get a Gardevoir if you are not have a positive mindset, and so this Pokemon doesn't eat. It's completely reliant on the energy and the emotions of people around them. Routes is one of the hardest Pokemon for the average trainer to raise. They're extremely timid. They teleport away when they're scared of things. And so we really do have to kind of show patience, show a ton of support, and make this Pokemon feel comfortable being on our team and with our... And honestly, the fact that we have Treecko actually helps us with this, because Treecko is so laid back and so positive itself. And so this paired really well, you know, a really easy Pokemon to raise with a little bit more challenging one. And so we kind of focus our attention on Routes. And Routes is obviously a very, very cool Pokemon. Psychic Fairy, you know, and a little short queen here. You know, synchronized trace telepathy, you know, very, very all psychic powers. And yeah, so we make our way to Rustboro City, and of course we know the first gym is Roxanne, and of course Roxanne is, as we know, a rock type trainer. We actually studied this going to the region, and Roxanne is not gonna have a fun time against Treecko. So we head over to the gym, and we kind of know that we can just kind of take out this gym with Treecko just by itself. So we end up fighting her and with her Nose Pass and Geodudes, but to no avail. We acquire the Stone Badge pretty easily, and after the badge, Grovyle, we end up getting a Grovyle. Treecko evolves, and of course Grovyle is just a faster, stronger version. Now that it kind of has the blades coming out of its hands, it's a little bit more offensive, gets Leaf Blade, and different really cool things like that. It's a very, very fast Pokemon, and of course, we're just here. So, and immediately we go back. We know that we need to go to Beaufort Town, and of course we get on the ferry with Mr. Briny and his lovely Pico, and we make our way to Beaufort Town. We kind of make it in the evening, so we have a little bit of time to do some training before we try to take on the gym the next day. And our Routes evolves into a Kirlia. So our new Kirlia here is, you know, obviously very, very powerful, and of course going into a fighting type gym, this is going to be really, really good. It draws the power of positive emotions, and of course we have all positive vibes over here now because we have our first gym badge. We have 2 fully Pokemon that are now evolved, and you know, we're just feeling really, really good, really, really confident. And this is the first region where we're like, we are on our own, and we're now used to being on our own, right? Because when we were in Johto, we weren't used to being on our own. We had just moved away from home and went to this region. We had a lot of things to learn. This time we're coming here, we have a new positive mindset, and so that's really helping us have this emotion Pokemon, and of course it's a psychic type that can rip through fighting types. And of course Raleigh is going to be no match for us. We take him out easily. You know, we have speed on our side with both Kirlia and with Grovyle, and his Makuhita is no match, and we take the Knuckle Badge with ease. And then we go and find Mr. Briny once again and head over to Slateport City. Now, in Slateport City, we find May on the beach training with her Beautifly, with her little Munchlax, with her Ivysaur. She is here training for Pokemon contests, and she actually gives us a little bit of knowledge about Pokemon contests. She encourages us to attempt one at some point during our journey. And, you know, we think about it, but we end up kind of moving on. You know, it's just a person that we knew that was kind of like a mini celebrity, and so we wanted to stop, say hello, and be like, yo, like, what is going on? Go subscribe over to Leaf Green Gaming, you know what I mean? That's what we're talking about. So anyways, we head up past Slateport, and we catch ourselves a little Electrike. Now, Electrike is a really cool Pokemon. It's a little electric dog Pokemon, and we really feel that this is really, really good. Hunts small rodents, small mammals, so, you know, another Pokemon that is very fast when it evolves. And you know, we're kind of used to having dog Pokemon from and wolf Pokemon from having a Vaporeon and from having a Ninetales. So, you know, we are very comfortable with this style of Pokemon. We've actually had an electric type in the last region as well, and so we're kind of used to all of these Pokemon so far. And so it was just a really familiar Pokemon to use, and so I was really excited about it. And of course, Electrike is a little 2 foot tall, 33-pound little puppy, you know, that has static, lightning rod, and minus. So the ability to absorb electric moves and have full immunity is really, really cool, because now we have 2 resistances to electric going into an electric gym. And so I was very excited about this, and we end up making it to Mauville City. We get to New Mauville. We are kind of in a futuristic time zone, so we have New Mauville here. And we fight Watson. We end up taking him on with kind of a combination of Pokemon this time. We kind of use all of our Pokemon at our disposal. We kind of get to use our Manectric or Electric a little bit. We get to use Curly a little bit. We get to use Grovyle a little bit. And we come away with the Dynamo badge. You know, he has a Voltorb, a Manectric, and a Magnemite. And we take all of these guys out and capture the Dynamo badge. And we move right on to Lava Ridge Town. There's not really any story going on. There's no Team Aqua, no Team Magma messing around. So we can just kind of go to Lava Ridge City. And Flannery is a trainer that I have always loved. And so this had a bit of a weird situation for me. You know, I wanted to win, but I didn't at the same time. And so we are here, but we take out Flannery, and Manectric evolves as we're kind of in the gym. And so now we have a newfound Manectric and very, very fast, powerful Pokemon. Obviously 4'11" dog is a very, very good Pokemon to have. Kind of able to discharge, kind of get some distance while still being able to perform high-powered attacks, both physically and specially. So very, very good Pokemon. And we just acquire the Heat Badge. I mean, Torkoal has nothing for us, and she really just has a Numble and a Slugma. And so we were able to kind of take this out with Kirlia and with Manectric. So we decide that we're going to take Meteor Falls back to get to Petalburg City. And we end up catching a Bagon in here. And of course, Bagons are really, really cool. But they are prone to jumping off cliffs, and that's where we ended up finding this little guy. They want to be able to fly, and so this is what they're doing. And they like to headbutt things, and so yeah. So anyways, we get this Bagon, and we're really excited about Bagon because we kind of have an idea that we've never caught a Dragon-type Pokemon before. We've had Pokemon that we were like, oh, like this could be a Dragon, because we have like our Ampharos actually ended up getting Dragon Pulse, and so we were like, oh, is this a Dragon? Even though it ended up not being a Dragon, but we thought it was, and so now we're very excited. We think we got another Dragon Pokemon, and we're very, very excited for it. And we make our way down to Petalburg Town. We end up fighting Norman, who kind of, his ace is slacking with Vigoroth, and he has a slack off as well. But we get the balance badge pretty easily. You know, we use our 3 Pokemon, we use a speed, and the fact that it needs to use Truant, and so it's very, very slow, and we just kind of use our speed to our advantage and take care of that, no problem. Then we make our way to Fortree City, just moving right along. We have a mission in this region, like I said, and we're not going to be wasting time doing random stuff. And so in Fortree City, we do a lot of training in Fortree City. Number one, our Grovyle evolves into Sceptile. You know, obviously, the high trees, the ability to kind of move through the forest, that's kind of its natural habitat. And so we did a lot of training there to work on speed, work on techniques. And Sceptile evolves, Grovyle evolves into Sceptile. Really kind of utilizing the terrain around us to be able to kind of work with things. And the fact that we were using these high up areas, Bagon actually was loving the fact that he could jump up the high trees, and he evolves into a Shelgon, which is really weird. Okay, so Shelgon is actually basically a dragon cocoon, which is so weird. Basically, it no longer attacks too much. It doesn't eat anymore. It just goes in this cocoon, and it's basically just, its cells are just going crazy waiting for it to evolve. And so we now kind of lose a Pokemon almost in this area, which is a little bit frustrating, because, you know, we thought we were getting a really nice dragon to use, and now we just have this cocoon, like almost like having a Metapod or something. And so we do need to kind of work around that. But Winona, of course, we have a Manectric, we have a Gardevoir, we can take out her Altaria, we can take out her other flying types, and we do just that. Not very hard. We get the Feather Badge, and we move on to Lily Cove City. And of course, Lily Cove City is another region with high cliffs and other things. But in Lily Cove City, as we are here, a Pokemon contest is going on, and we take May's advice and we take a shot at it. We go, you know what? Why not? We'll put Kirlia into a match, see how she does. You know, she's a really cool move pool, and so we decide, let's just give it a go. And, you know, we do pretty well. We try to use a combination of Dazzling Gleam and Moonblast, and we try to use Mystical Fire, we try to use Psychic, we try to use Double Team, we try to really do a nice combination of things. But our showstopper is going to be Dazzling Gleam. We're going to finish our performance with a Dazzling Gleam that blinds the crowd, and then we get our finishing pose. However, Kirlia had different plan. And Kirlia, as soon as we hit Dazzling Gleam for the finale, it actually evolves when it comes out of the light into a Gardevoir, and of course this gets the crowd absolutely going. But Gardevoir, now is a fully evolved, really powerful Pokemon, and is extremely loyal, and that's a really cool aspect of this Pokemon. It's a humanoid Pokemon. It's very easy. Synchronized Trace Telepathy once again, but it's 5 foot tall, 106 pounds, and a very cool Pokemon. And obviously this gets the crowd absolutely going, and we end up finding out that Chloe is here with Professor Cersei and her friend Dawn, who we didn't know she was friends with, but yeah, they come backstage at the end of it, and they're congratulating me on trying out a contest and doing really well. And obviously Dawn's a coordinator herself, and so she was like, "You're amazing, like, come to Sinnoh, please." And we go, you know what, we got work to do here first. We have a mission here. This is just kind of a side little have fun on the side thing, but we don't really think too much of it. And Professor Cersei kind of gives us the next kind of guidance. He goes, "You know what, Tate and Liza's a double battle. Like, you need to be prepared for this. You need to be ready for this. And and then you have to fight Juan." And so Juan or Wallace, depending, because there's some change going on in the Elite Four. And so Cersei giving us that knowledge, we end up on our way out of Lily Cove. We decide to catch a Celio, which is kind of roaming around these waters. Celio is a really cool Pokemon, really happy-go-lucky Pokemon, and again, works the vibe of us having a very positive team here. And so, a very bulky Pokemon, got the thick fat on it. It's got really cool things. Thick fat, Ice Body, Oblivious, a 3 foot tall, 200 pounds already. It's a nice physical wall for this team, and we really needed that. And so we take our Celio, and we take a boat over to Moss Deep City. And Moss Deep City is a little bit different than what we thought. It's really big on, it's like a NASA space station for the most part. And so, we actually end up seeing a rocket ship take off. We end up kind of staying there a few days, kind of getting our grips, taking a little bit of a break and some training before we take on Tate Liza, knowing that it's double battle. And when we see this spaceship take off, our Shelgon evolves into a Salamence. So fitting to see a Pokemon that all it wants to do is fly. And after seeing a spaceship take off, it evolves into a Salamence so that it can freely fly around. And of course, Salamence is an incredibly powerful Pokemon with Intimidate and Moxie. And obviously we let it fly around, we let it do its thing, it learns Flamethrower, it gets some great moves, and we really want to use this Pokemon. And so we end up taking this into Tate and Liza, and we know we want to use our two newest team members. We want to use Salamence, we want to use Celio, and we want to take this gym on. And of course we end up finding out that all of Tate and Liza's Pokemon are actually all ground type, as well as being psychic. And so it just so happens Salamence is off the ground, can't hit us with anything but your psychic move, and Celio has super effective damage on all of its moves against all of these Pokemon. And so we end up taking out this double battle really nicely. Salamence and Celio work really well in tandem, and we get ourselves the Mind Bag. Now, as we're leaving Moss Deep City, our Celio evolves into a Walrein, the big ice break Pokemon, 4 foot tall, 322 pounds, You know, this is the physical wall we were looking for. I love me a bulky water type. You know, this is literally the better version of Vaporeon in terms of the bulk that I really wanted on a water type. But still having that great offensive stat in both categories to kind of give me the versatility of being physical or special. And so I felt really, really confident about this whole team, right? Salamence, Walrein, Manectric, Gardevoir, Sceptile. Like, we have a really, really offensive team that is able to do a lot of different things. And so we end up flying to top of the city on our Salamence, who is just so happy to be flying around, honestly. And we end up at the top of the city gym, but we end up making all the way to the gym leader. And the gym leader is nowhere to be found. We end up waiting here, and Juan actually comes up from behind us and says, look, I'm sorry. Wallace is not here. Wallace is at the Pokemon League covering Steven, champion, while he is away. So, after fighting Wallace, or after fighting Juan, sorry, you know, Kingdra was a little bit of a pushover. You know, obviously we have a Manectric and we have a Sceptile, and of course we even have a Salamence to take out that. And we handle the rain team pretty well. You know, obviously a lot of people are very, very powerful, but this covers off the rain badge, and we end up flying right away to Evergrande Conference. You know, Juan gives us some nice pointers though. And this is the team. This is the team that we have going into the Elite Four. There wasn't really much need to add Pokemon from our other regions. Our options were Venusaur, or well, Ivysaur or Bayleaf, and Sceptile we just felt was the best option there. Walrein, we could have chose Vaporeon or Azumarill, but we ended up deciding that Walrein was just the best fit for this team. We could have chosen Ampharos, but we kind of figured, you know what, let's just use Manectric. We don't have any other Psychic type to go with, and so it was really that or use Noctowl. And we just figured that Gardevoir was the better Pokemon, and obviously its connection to us as a trainer, being evolving and everything through emotion and through connection. You know, we just felt that was a better bond for us. And of course, Salamence is the best flying type we have. We have Pidgeotto, we have a Noctowl. You're not choosing those over Salamence. So we really went into this team thinking this team has the opportunity to win. You know, this was the best team that we've ever assembled, and I felt really, really confident. And so going over the movesets of each team member, just that we kind of know what the journey was like for us. Sceptile has Double Team, Leaf Blade, Leaf Storm, and X-Scissor. The reason that I chose this moveset is Double Team and Leaf Storm kind of function kind of like a ninja Pokemon, right? You whip up a Leaf Storm kind of as like a semi smoke screen, and then you're able to double team up, kind of like Naruto, kind of going through, you know, Shadow Clone Jutsu, you know what I mean? And then we get the Leaf Blade and X-Scissor. So Leaf Blade is a signature move of Sceptile, using its, you know, the leaves coming out of here as blades, and X-Scissor kind of does the same thing, but it's frost and a bug type move, which is really, really good. And then gives us nice coverage. Gardevoir, Dazzling Gleam, Double Team, Mystical Fire, Psychic. We already talked about this in the Pokemon contest, but this is the moveset that we decided to use. Obviously, being the Psychic type, Double Team is really easy to pull off. Dazzling Gleam kind of blinds your opponent, and then you can kind of, from range, use a Mystical Fire that kind of follows your opponent around. Or Psychic, you just stand where you are, and you can control your opponent for a minute and just throw it against the ground or something, like whatever you gotta do. Then we go into Manectric. Manectric, this is a really cool moveset. So we have Electric Terrain to kind of set the terrain. It electrifies the ground, it boosts the electric moves, and also keeps all Pokemon awake. It's really, really nice. Discharge is a nice move. When it's running around, you can just have Discharge going, and you can kind of keep Pokemon at range, right? You can kind of like, okay, you're not getting in this wall of electricity. So it's kind of a nice defensive move, but also kind of to force a ranged attack, which allows you to use Thunder, which is a very, very good move. Or if you do get in close, you have Fire Fang, which is kind of just using the electric power in its body, just kind of get the burst the flame and then kind of maybe burn your opponent as well. So I kind of like this moveset. It kind of gives you range and up close capabilities. Then we have Salamence with Dragon Claw, Dragon Tail, Dual Wing Beat, and Flamethrower. Flamethrower is our range attack, and then Dragon Claw uses its claws, Dragon Tail uses its tail, and Dual Wing Beat uses its wings to kind of fly down, attack your opponent with its wing. Just using all of its body to be able to attack, and so a very, very cool moveset here. And then our final Pokemon, Walrein, has Aurora Beam. It's a really nice beam of ice that gets shot at your opponent. Brine, blasted with a stream of salty water. If Walrein's HP is kind of low and, you know, is kind of close to fainting, it does have a little bit of a second wind on its move, which is really, really nice. Ice Fang, if your opponent decides to get close to you, Ice Fang chomping down on that ice. And of course, we decided to have Sheer Cold, which is a blast of absolute zero cold. This uses all of its might. If it hits, it is a guarantee to knock out the opponent, which is a really cool kind of last resort effort. You know, this is a bulky Pokemon that's supposed to take a lot of hits, and so you can maybe land a Sheer Cold. You can make, if a Pokemon comes in close, you can Ice Fang it. But you have 2 moves at range, so they can kind of just range attack things. And so that is our moveset going into the Elite Four, and we enter Sydney's room. Now, Sydney and his Absol. Now, this was a really scary proposition. So, Sydney actually uses Pokemon not just from the Hoenn region. And this is terrifying because we have no knowledge of Pokemon outside of the first 3 regions. And he just trips us a little bit. He leads with a Zoroark, disguised as a Mandibuzz. And so that's 2 Pokemon right away that we don't know anything about. And we let off with our Sceptile, kind of hoping that we could get an X-Scissor off and just kind of do neutral damage to whoever it was. But we couldn't stay in on a Mandibuzz, and so we decided to switch out and, you know, get the Dark Pulse off, and it's really, really powerful. And we're like, oh shit, like Mandibuzz is like really good, what the hell? And then we go for the Thunder, and it's not super effective, it doesn't knock it out. And we're like, oh my goodness, what's happening? So we end up getting through that. We get through the Zoroark, we get through the Scrafty, the Shiftry, the Sharpedo, the Mandibuzz, and the Mega Absol, and we defeat Sydney by the skin of our teeth, to be honest with you. We really, really struggled, and then we have to run back to the Pokemon Center, and, you know, we heal up, and we get ready for round 2 versus Phoebe. Now, Phoebe is a ghost type trainer, and we don't really have a great answer for ghost types, to be honest. We're really going to need to be the better trainer here. And Phoebe just completely overwhelms us, to be honest with you. Dusknoir has amazing coverage. It has Ice Punch, it has Thunder Punch, it has Shadow Ball, and that combination just crushes our team. Obviously, and it has pressure, so all of our moves, so it's kind of forcing our Pokemon to kind of panic a little bit. They don't really seem to be able to get off as many moves, and the Dusknoir just kind of whittles us down. Honestly, we rotated through a bunch of Pokemon trying to get through the Dusknoir, and when we finally did, we just ran out of steam. Banette, Mismagius, Drifloon, Chandelure, and then this Mega Sableye comes in and just finishes us off. And unfortunately, we do lose to Phoebe in the second round of the Elite Four, but we are extremely proud of our journey, to be honest with you. We competed really well. We had a really good team. You know, realistically, if we would have had a 6th Pokemon, we maybe could have had the coverage for Ghost, but Ghost is a very powerful typing, and I have no problem losing to Phoebe. She's a very strong trainer and very, very cool Pokemon. The other thing that we encountered in this Elite Four is Mega Evolution. And at this point, we do not know what Mega Evolution was. And so just seeing a Pokemon evolve again when we thought it was its final evolution really threw us off. It really took us off our game, but you know, we'll come back stronger for it. I think so. And honestly, I think it's time that we follow Dawn and we bring us to the Sinnoh regions. So that is going to be it for this video, guys. Thanks everyone for watching. If you have your own Pokemon team for the Hoenn region, let me know in the comments section down below. Obviously, this takes a lot of time to do, so I appreciate any comments, any likes. any feedback as well. You know, this series has been really, really fun. It's kind of personal, but it's kind of a really cool version for me to do a top 5 and things like that. So, again, thank you everyone for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.